Thank you very much, Lucas. I do appreciate you coming by and online and taking the time to chat. Really interested in, and you mentioned to me earlier that you have several businesses, but we're going to be talking about one of them in particular called CROFTI. And tell me a little bit about it if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we class as innovation consulting, but we get class of the techs, all the tech gurus inside businesses. Essentially, we go into other traditional businesses that have been around for a little while, could be 10, 20, 30 years, all the way to 80, 90, 100 years, and look at innovating and making them, I guess reinventing them from the ground up, from a process point of view, systems point of view, all the way through to operationally, how to generate more revenue in other aspects they hadn't thought about previously.
Yeah,
that's the core.
Yeah, as a advisor, sometimes I ask that question: if you were to start your business today or tomorrow or 4 days from now, what else would you have? Well, how would you get the team together and then launch again? And you would be filling a lot of the gaps that they would have to admit to by answering that question. So I love it. That's awesome. So I'm assuming that type of bringing leading edge technology to an existing operation and giving them all those efficiencies that come with it, is that like an inspiring sort of feeling to engage with a company like that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's everyone's wanting to push the business forward in the right direction. I guess very similar to yourself, Bill, when you're working with clients and as a coach, your job is to take them from where they are now to I guess their end goal, what they're trying to achieve, whether it's growth, stability, exit, whatever it might be. And we're exactly the same. We align very closely on that front. We're just focusing on the tech side of things, implementing the right tech stack, or the right systems or better processes to also achieve that same goal. So then we can both achieve the outcome for the client. So yes, it's always inspiring.
That's awesome. I totally agree. And the changes you put in have a much more long-term effect on the company than just sort of cleaning the backyard a little and then it gets messy again. There's a lot of residual value that comes from being that efficient and adding all those features to knowledge transfer, knowledge capture, being able to have the problems be solved at the lowest level rather than go up the chain and kind of get missed in the translation, all that stuff. I love it. This is good. So a little bit more about you. This you've been in, obviously you have had to apply what you're doing to several businesses and use tech to solve the problems, and your teams would do that. So what would you say is what's the biggest problem that you've overcome as a business owner and entrepreneur?
Interesting. I'll talk about it from two fronts. The biggest problem we've still not yet overcome when we're doing any of these projects with clients is people management and people change. People/business owners, exec teams love the idea, even all the way down to employees, love the idea of change. They love the idea of implementing technology, progressing, innovating. They love the concept until it affects them personally. And until that happens, they go, oh, I actually have to change too. You're like, yes, the entire company's changing. We have still yet to overcome that situation. And so essentially what we do from the get-go, anytime we work with a new client, it's like, by the way, we're recommending you get a change management consultant, a business coach, a HR consultant, get your team around you because you're about to go on a bit of a journey. Make sure you're ready for it. And then it can be successful because it's not just a tech side, it's also involving the entire company, right? Because literally from day 1 to day 30, it's a whole new business. It's a brand new starting again. So that's always a struggle, and I've still not overcome that process because even though we say and we recommend to get your other consultants in place, no one ever does. They go, oh no, we'll be right, mate. We don't need to do it. We'll be fine. We love change. We're really excited about this. There's been not one project yet that it hasn't affected everyone in different ways.
Right. Oh, I love it. So if you're so as you're thinking about this particular business in general, would this be it's still inspiring though, right? It's still you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
If I, I
It's very
understand that I
inspiring.
have to, influence the people to change their behavior, but you can already see the benefits, even in, they're not maximized benefits,
Yeah.
because there's a wholesale habit change that you have to do in every little department. So
It's always the little quick wins that you see, or when people's eyes light up. Like I was on a session earlier, and we're implementing HubSpot sales to improve the sales process in a company, and little things like, hey, I've made that phone call, and by the way, it's now prompting me to automatically create me a task to follow up with that person in 3 days or a month from now. They haven't got to think about it. It creates a task automatically. It assigns them the notification in a month from now, because they don't have to think about it between now and a month. And then it'll say, yep, cool, it's been a month, please follow up with that person. The eyes just like light up, going, I don't have to write that on a notepad anymore. I don't have to remember to follow up with that person anymore. No, the system does it for you. So it's really, sometimes it's really small things that you take for granted because you've been doing it for so long, that you don't realize that it's those little features sometimes in these systems that make a huge difference in someone's life.
Yeah, I think taking the little point that we talked about at the beginning of our discussion is, you almost let them reboot their business and start the business over again. So with permission, I'm gonna spin this on you personally. Like, if you were to start this business over again, what do you think would be a little different if you would have just relaunch it, like from raw materials?
Productize it from the ground up. So right now it's very service driven, hourly rate driven. Obviously creating the scopes and outcomes for clients. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? We've been doing this for nearly 10 plus years. We are actively working on this. What I've come to terms with, and I guess come to terms is the right conversation. Most people, and I won't put everyone in a little stereo bucket, but most people don't understand technology, they don't understand innovation, and they don't understand how that affects their business. So when you're pricing, quoting, delivering, it's very much a, what is it? What am I getting for my money? There's no real, I want to compare you against someone else. That doesn't really exist. So if I was to start fresh, productize everything, because scaling a consulting business is really difficult. As a business coach, you might be something you've come familiar with, because it's resources, right? It's time material. But when you try to scope out projects that go for 6, 12, 18 months, and they chop and change, and it's very agile, it's really hard to try and productize it. That would be my first focus before, taking on clients and growing.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So as you're like, that would be almost like it's almost like a cliche, isn't it? Productize your service. And a lot of businesses, one of my businesses is a service, is cleaning, office cleaning, commercial cleaning. And we initiate the conversation as if it's a product, and they start thinking like it's a product. They just buy it because they like the features, and then they figure out it's all about us. Then we kind of manage the relationship from there and make sure that there's they start literally thinking about the office environment differently, because we slowly bring things to their attention. Oh, it takes you 17 minutes to have everybody finally sit down, because of the way this is configured, and how much is that wasting throughout the entire year? How about we clean this, move this around for you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so very interesting. So if that was a cliche saying, what do you have as favorite quotes or sayings that drive you towards thinking differently? How do you push yourself with quotes or sayings?
This is one thing I say to either potential customers or current clients every single day of the week, and that's, if you have to do something twice, we need to automate it. So if you have to write something down, if you have to send an email, if you have to notify someone, you got to use a spreadsheet. If you're doing any manual entering of data ever, if you got to do it twice in a row for any particular reason, any particular process task, then we should think about automating it. Because that just means that it's repetitive, and that repetitiveness can be eliminated, and then we can focus on the real crux of the business. Yeah,
it could save tens of thousands a week, depending on the size of the organization. If you have to log into 7 different things every single day, twice, that's an enormous cost. Pays for you 10 times over. So I can see the value there. Yeah, I love it. That's a great great offering. any industrial engineer in the room would say, "Wait, I've been telling you this for 10 years. This guy's got it. Let's do this." Right? Do you find that happening? Like somebody who's really process oriented in the room being your champion for you a little bit?
It's usually when new management come into a business and they come in from an outside perspective. Because, when as founders grow their organization, there's so much in the weeds that they don't really think of, or they don't see from the outside perspective. Hence the reason, this is why you get engaged as a consultant as well. And so when new management come on board or new team members come on board, especially ones that are hungry, that's where it usually opens up that conversation. Because they get it. They go, "Yeah, why are you doing it this way?" "Oh, we've always done it that way." "Yeah, why?" And they can't answer you. And so that's the tipping point. Go, "Okay, well, let's think about this differently." And that's where they usually get us involved to go, "Right, we have a fresh slate. Even though the company's been around for 5 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever it might be, it's a complete fresh slate. Ignore anything that's happened in the past. What potential is there, and how far can we push this business?"
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting. But yeah, as I said earlier, it's just that, catch-22 scenario. We can do it. Is the team going to come along for the ride? And that's usually where like most companies are like, well, if they don't, then they don't have a job here anymore. It's the honest truth.
Can I might want to venture, you may have seen this too, is and I'll use this term twice in this entire interview. It's a pandemic related question. Sometimes these, we'll get to that projects get actioned when a massive stressor hits the organization, like a pandemic. So did that was there what was your one or two actions, or what was your couple of things that you ended up doing because of that situation in your business?
Our business
internally.
Personally?
Internally in CROFTI.
Yeah, we way before the pandemic, we were already, cloud first, mobile first, work from anywhere, not relying on an office or a building. So that was the main, as you would have seen, the main topic in any organization. And we actually did a spotlight series with TAFE Queensland to help small business overcome that entire process.
That's awesome.
Over that period of time, because that was the biggest struggle in every business. Was we have a traditional business, our staff can't work from home, we have servers in the office. So obviously then everyone had to go cloud, and people we had been talking to for months, if not years, about going into cloud happened overnight. And that was it was really rewarding for everyone involved, because everyone's eyes lit up after the fact, that people could start returning back to work and go, "Well, actually, I don't need to now." They go, "Oh, is this what you've been talking about for years?" So that was that. But that obviously didn't affect us personally. What did we change during that period of time? I actually am not sure, because we really focused on that for everyone else. It was not about us. There was that whole period of time was not about us. It was about assisting and helping everyone do that.
I would agree with that. I would agree. Companies like ours was just sort of, don't worry, it will treat us well because there's just so much good we can do. We just have to roll up our sleeves, make that extra phone call, help the person who's freaking out, slow down, take a breath, and say, "Okay, we're going to start here. We're going to start here." Leading them, if you would. You start leading the direction a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I guess we didn't capitalize on it. We were doing it out of the bottom of our hearts. We didn't charge people for a lot of the work.
Same here. We did a ton of free stuff just to keep them alive.
Just to help out, because I guess at that point in time we didn't know what the future held, and everyone thought it was doomsday. And you're like, you know what? Whatever it takes, let's make it happen. We'll figure it out later. I wouldn't say it's a regret, but looking forward, not everyone was doing that. And so yes, it pays forward in dividends years to come with relationships and so forth. But from a monetary income to make sure that you're supporting your family, i.e. or your team members through that period, could have been handled a bit better, I think, from our point of view.
Okay, well, there you go. That's a perfect answer. That is an honest answer. I like it. So maybe not in your business, but if you're talking with someone at the barbecue and you're just and they're thinking of going into any business, but they don't know what, or they're thinking about getting into a business, what would you say to that individual?
Are you passionate about it? So we work with a lot of founders / tech startups, people who have ideas, and most people do it because they currently don't like their current job. they're unhappy in some form of situation in their life, and they obviously just want to pivot and try something else, which I'm all for. Definitely give it a try, but it's not sustainable long term. Most people who come up with crazy ideas to build an app, to be the next Uber or Airbnb or whatever it might be, they think it's easy. It's still running a business, and so when you're having those amazing conversations about these awesome ideas you got, are you passionate about that topic? Do you have industry knowledge? Is it something you can really put a lot of thought and like mindset,
value,
process, value into it? Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a 5 to 10 year journey. It's not a 6 to 12 month journey. And
so is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the barbecue conversation. That's usually when people have had too many beers. They have these crazy ideas, and they're like, "Sweet, yeah, I got to spare 50K. Let's go build an app." And you're like, "Sweet, what are you gonna do after it's built?" I don't know. Just launch it and just have people buy it. Yeah. So unfortunately, you're building a business.
All right. Well, good. Hey, at least you're there to provide some perspective. The number one word a really good entrepreneur says is no, but they happen to just say yes in certain circumstances that are the key ones, and then they can put all their energy into it because they've said no to the silly stuff. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
I've been there, done that. I've said yes to way too many things over the years.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Right on. That's fantastic. So, is there any particular individual that inspires you as a business person that you think of? Richard Branson, blah blah blah. Somebody like that says, if this one will solve this problem like that, I'm going to be like this person a little more today.
Yeah. I guess all the famous ones that you know, but I don't know the guy's name actually, but I can shoot the link after this. I've been following him on TikTok and Facebook a bit recently, where it's like the Yes Man, and unrelated to business, but kind of like entrepreneurial. He's obviously making money from YouTube and so forth, where he's going up to people and asking them a question and to see if they'll say yes, and then he'll back them through the entire process. So the ones where he's done recently is, hey, will you fly to the Great Barrier Reef with me from the US? A lot of people obviously in the US go, where's that? I've got no idea. You might be able to relate, Bill.
Oh, totally. Geography is not a strong suit of Americans, that's for sure. So.
And the first people that say yes, they're like, yeah, sure, I don't know what that is, but I'll go. And then next minute they've completely changed
13 hours later.
They've completely changed their life because they got to experience something they never used to. So it's that, like when we're just talking about saying yes to too many things or in the wrong way, this is like the flip of that. It's like saying yes to the right things, or just to be able to experience or adventure. Anything outside your comfort zone is the point I'm getting to.
Yeah. I like it. That's I find that inspiring. I didn't know such a thing existed. I'm gonna have to look into that one. So
yeah. I'll send you the link after this. You can post it in the show notes. But essentially, it's just randomly asking people to do stuff and seeing who says yes, and then seeing them change their life. Afterwards.
See who they were at the beginning, see who they are at the end, or afterwards. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of sending links, etc., are there any offers that either come to mind or you have active that I should be putting into the newsletter on the spotlight for CROFTI?
Well, there is for CROFTI, not this particular month. We're very service based. We work with the clients we want to work with, very select, and it's about can we help them? Can we that right mindseted person that really wants to change, really wants to innovate, wants to start 2023 with a bang, and have a progressive project on the entire next year. That so where the company starts in January versus where it is in December is completely changed, upside down, left to right. That's the ideal person. Let's say company, because obviously company are made up of multiple different type of human beings. No, we do have a holiday special at the moment with Tribu, which is one of our other products, artificial intelligence software for IT companies. It's more US focused. But we do have customers in Australia, and that's it's a combination with a different, like a channel program where everyone can win a prize every day of the month. From we're providing a GoPro Max, it could be a PlayStation, could be a trip overseas. There's a prize that anyone can win any day of the month throughout December. And so we're working with heaps of other vendors in the space to really just help that holiday spirit.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that one. Hopefully, people will dig into all the other businesses that are connected to you, as well as CROFTI. Thanks again for taking the time to chat with me, and I look forward to maybe meeting up, because we're in the same general area. We'll probably meet up and chat as well. So we'll wrap up this interview. But again, thanks again, Lucas, very much.
I really appreciate it, Bill. Thanks, man.